Hi, folks. I'm Joe Wesley of J&L Creative Solutions, and today's another episode. Are you prepared to take your hot seat challenge to discover an ingredient of your secret sauce? For those who are visiting us for the first time, thank you for coming. For those that are coming back again, we really appreciate your enjoyment, your learning curve, your loyalty to the program. The concept being is everybody has, let me phrase this. My tagline is I don't claim that I see dead people, but it will help you discover your secret sauce that gives you a distinct advantage in your business. People can mimic what you do, but they can't fake who you are. And people are drawn by nature to your style, your karma, call it what you want. And I call it I call it your secret sauce. So what I do, and again, my name today is Joe Wesley. Before I get too off on this, my guest today is.
Oh, I'm Diane Noto. Hello, everyone. I'm
Okay.
coming in from Delaware today.
Thank you for being with us. Diane's a little bit choked up just being a part of this special moment. And actually, she has allergies. So she coughs and sneezes, folks. Bear with us. This is a live program, and we don't edit it out. So it keeps it a real phenomenon. But the concept is I'll begin by asking the first 20 minutes or so what's Diane's favorite pastime? And because it goes to her passion, it goes to who she is, the person. And then I'll flow into her business and we'll talk about, from my perspective, by asking questions, what is it that she brings to her environment for your benefit that's unique to her, that may very well draw you over your competition. So having said, that's enough. I get so excited on this. So let's move forward. So I'm going to ask you, Diane, what's your favorite pastime?
My favorite pastime actually is music, connected to music. Actually, when I first started out, Lord, 40 years ago or so, I actually went to college for music education. So, yeah, I learned to play trumpet, clarinet, flute, saxophone, drums, all of the instruments, and I
Interesting.
loved it.
I get
Yeah,
that.
yeah, I loved it on
Why,
my
why,
own, but
why did you like it? How did you? Now, let me ask you this: were you one of those prodigies at 3 years of age? You started tapping on the tabletop or something. How did that evolve?
No, no. When I was in high school, actually, I knew I wanted to be a part of the band, and
Okay.
the director needed an.
Excuse me, Diane.
Oh,
Let me
sure.
backtrack. How did you know you wanted to be a part of the band? See, I want to get into your thoughts.
Ah, okay. Well, let me see. I think I really wanted to be involved. I didn't want to
Okay.
just go through high school existing. I wanted to make a difference. I wanted to be seen, maybe, I guess. Yeah, I
Well,
did. I really wanted to be part of the in, and actually the band was part of the in crowd, quite frankly. I wanted
I
to
get
be
that.
in that group. Yeah,
Well,
it
let me
was
ask you
fun.
this: why not a cheerleader or football or baseball or something? That wasn't a girl thing back in the day, certainly. But I
It
hear what you're
was.
saying. Okay, but I'm asking you. You chose music as
Mhm.
opposed to cheerleading, and I'm going to be a stereotype
True.
to you, maybe even misogynist. I would think girly syndrome. You wear the pom things and kick your heels up and do your thing. But you chose music. What was it in that category versus the other side of the option?
Honestly, I was always a singer. I did
Okay.
sing, loved music back then, but my mother told me even when I was 2, 3 years old, when the parades would march down the street, I would
Right.
follow them.
Ah,
So she said, "This girl's going to do something in music," and yeah, I mean, I just took off with it. I always loved singing,
hmm,
but wanted more. It wasn't enough. I wasn't sure, but I wasn't playing a girly instrument. I played trumpet. So,
trumpet. I heard that. Now,
uh-huh.
what is it about the trumpet that you liked? Rephrase it, as opposed to a flute or a piccolo or
Oh,
a
sure.
xylophone.
I think it reflects my personality, to be honest, to think about it. I'm not a quiet and shy kind of person. I love people. I love to talk. But I love being a leader, which is why I think it led me into education. I love being in front and in charge, guiding, that kind of thing. So trumpet's that kind of instrument. It's an out in front, big, loud, and brassy kind of instrument.
I get that. And I should mention to the audience, I have a mind like a sieve, folks. And what I do is I take notes
Mm,
and I refer back to them at some point. And right now, it began as a blank sheet of paper. Now it's maybe half full almost. So,
Right.
and I'll refer back to these notes because, again, in asking Diane's favorite pastime, discovering about her passion, I can hopefully develop, not hopefully, I've done pretty good with this so far, develop an image of my concept of her. And to be fair, I will always ask my guests, am I far off? Because if I am, let's not waste each other's time any further in this program. But I'm not quite there yet. So
Yeah.
what I'm hearing is you chose trumpet because, in fact, by the way, trumpet is also my favorite because it does kick
Oh,
out there. It gets noticed. That's perhaps let me write that down.
that's true. Right.
So so the I get the concept. Now, how long did you play music for in your life?
Oh my goodness. Since then, probably. So I was 16, no,
Hmm.
15, 15
Right.
when I started. And now I'm certainly a couple of years older.
I, I
But
I
I,
wouldn't have thought
I
that, but
actually
go
taught.
ahead.
Right. I,
Oh,
I
okay.
actually taught music then for 35 years. That was my
I see.
first career. Yeah, I was a teacher and I taught band and choirs and classroom music and so forth, and then transitioned into what I do now. But I loved it. I loved working with kids. I truly did.
When you taught music, was it now? I was not my expertise by any stretch, but was it? Were you helping to compose? Was it a matter of teaching technique? Were you? And I guess you teach technique by actually doing pieces or musical pieces. I'm not even
Mhm.
asking the question well, but did you have a niche or preference with your involvement in music? Were you a writer of music? Am
Well,
I asking it
let's see.
correctly or
It was more of a see, when you teach classroom music, it's more of trying to show kids, not help them learn because you can't control that, but it's
right?
more of exposing them to different types of music just so they
Okay,
can gain a love would be ultimately, but so they can gain an appreciation, let's say, for different genres of music and so forth. When
right,
you specialize in choirs or choral music and band music or orchestral music, things like that. That's something where these people want to be there, and we're trying to bring alive, classical works, traditional works, modern works, rock and roll, jazz, that kind, and really experience it from the bottom up, actually playing it and being a part of a huge unit, because that's what we
okay.
teach. You're going to be working with people the rest of your life.
Mm-hmm.
This is a great cooperation to work together to achieve a particular goal, and it
I
worked. It was
understand.
great. Hmm.
So if I'm hearing correctly, a great cooperative effort to achieve goals. Yes.
Yes, yes.
I'm going to do a slight commercial break also for the audience and ourselves. That in the YouTube link, and there's also a LinkedIn and a Facebook link, and we also go out to Alignable. There'll be a description of how to contact Diane. If you have any questions for what her services may offer you, you can reach out to her. For myself, the same. We would encourage you to leave comment. We do audit our postings and we get back to you as quickly as possible. Like or dislike, don't say nothing at all. We like to, even if you dislike, give us at least a reason why, because we always want to get better at what we do. Share us with other people. We encourage you, certainly I do, to subscribe to my YouTube program. And for those who would like to learn more about the hot seat concept, discovering your secret sauce, please feel free to reach out to me. That being said, we'll go back to the program now, folks. And when you were teaching, you said for 20 years, 35 years, you said, yes?
Yes,
Okay.
correct.
Now, did
Hmm.
you do performing also? That be one of those people that did night bands on Saturday night or something as part of your program?
Yeah, I had a lot of people I knew that did that. Actually, I'll say perform. Basically, I worked for I'm saying for many weddings, funerals, sadly.
Mm-hmm.
But I've also been in musicals. I've performed in the pit, like the pit orchestra, which is the orchestra that sits below the stage for
Right.
different high school musicals and so forth. And I loved it. It was so much fun. It's so nice being a part of something bigger. It really
Right.
is. I mean, these kids are performing on stage and you're part of it. I mean, it's great. I really loved it quite a bit. Now it's not performing, not so much.
Right.
That part of my life is kind of taking a back seat.
Okay.
But I did it for so long. I loved it. It was fulfilling, I think, for that length of time.
I'm gonna take a hazard guess that you really enjoyed what you did.
I did. Can you tell?
Okay, pass that one by. Now,
Right.
having said that, then what? Now, folks, again, when I talk about taking notes, and normally for the first 15 to 20 minutes of this 30-minute session, I will ask questions, and at some point we'll move on into what she is doing now. When you walked away from music, was it so much walking away from music or walking into another direction?
Pretty much walking into another direction. I kind of figured that after 35 years, that was a career. So it was
Right.
time to, I really wanted to move on to something different.
Okay.
Um, excuse me, where I could be more in control of my time and I don't know, just looking at an education in a different way.
Mm-hmm.
Um, what I did was I partnered up with someone who at the time, so it's about 5 years ago at this point. She was very a group of financial professionals actually, and that they were over 20 years at that point, had experience in banking and finances and the goodness, she worked for the one worked for the Federal Reserve. She does taxes. I mean, bookkeeping, quite a bit of experience in the financial world. And I
Right.
had the educational background, so it was a matter of, teaming up and saying, you know what, it is about education, debt, money management. It truly is an education, but obviously with adults. So it was,
Mm-hmm.
for me, I thought it was time to move into my next, say, the next level,
Right.
and be able to use my skills in conjunction with the individual and individuals that I worked with and with the financial background. So it was a good move, I thought, an easy adjustment, an easy move, I should say.
Now, I find that intriguing. For many people I've met, moving in a different direction rarely is easy. It may be enjoyable, it may be
Hmm.
fun, but certainly by nature of being different, it tends to be challenging. I'm not sure if I'm hearing that from you or not. It sounds like it was an easy slide from point A to point B. Is that what I'm hearing?
Easy as okay, maybe easy is a little more no, yeah, yes and no, because again, I
Mm-hmm.
worked with this team, and it wasn't all on my own trying to figure it all out. That's the point of being with a team, right? So we each brought our strengths in working with our clients and so forth, and it just seemed to be a winner. It really was. And the more I would get to know more and more about the financial world, it was like, oh yeah, I mean, this is great. This is something I love. In fact, I get very excited when I'm working with someone's numbers. So, I did read some articles over the years that there really is a correlation between the, excuse me, the creative side of your brain. So that would be the music side
Right.
in connection to the other side with the mathematical side of the brain, quite frankly,
Mm-hmm.
because people do ask me, really, you went from this to that? Yeah, yeah, it was a pretty smooth transition again, because it's all about education,
Okay.
and yeah, it worked.
I hear that. So, what is it that you actually do then?
Well, what I do is I work with individuals, couples, small business owners, and so forth. And basically, what we do is we show people how to pay off all of their debt. So not just mortgages, but credit cards, student loans, car loans, line of credit, everything that has interest attached to it. Pay it off in a lot less time. So third to half the time than is scheduled by the banks, and it literally saves thousands and thousands of dollars in interest payments,
Mm-hmm.
550,000 to over 200,000 and more in
Mm-hmm.
interest. And that's the whole point. Why pay more than you
Right.
absolutely need to?
Okay. I hear that. Interesting. So, I'm going to share with you my thoughts. And actually, I tell people usually it's a 20-minute question and answer format, and then 10 minutes about what she does. But the challenge is I've run out of space, so I can't ask any more questions. So I have
Okay.
to now start talking. You're a wealth of information. And so I'm going to start from the beginning as I see it. You enjoy music. And I never quite asked what was it about music that grabbed you. But you talked about it in terms of that make a difference. You wanted to be involved in something. And I'm quite frankly, I'm not sure if a 3-year-old would have insight about why they enjoyed what they did. And so if you're walking behind the band, it's something you get caught up in. If it were
Hmm.
a guy, it might be somebody who loves red fire engines as a child or something. But what
Hmm.
I hear from you is that you had a skill for it, evidently, because you pursued that
Hmm.
direction. And
Right.
you said it allowed you to get involved in something that allowed a group setting. And I say that there's some people who like running or prefer running. If you're a marathon runner, you're kind of running in your own program of sorts.
Hmm.
If you're a golfer, you're doing your own thing. But music, even if you're a soloist to some degree, it's always with the group of people around you that's performing. And I can't say that I understand why people, I was never good at it, so I won't claim any understanding of that. But I can see where you said that you chose the horn because you were going to get noticed. When the horn plays, somebody might miss the flute or the piccolo. It's kind of softest in the background. The violin, if you're first violinist, I guess you get to stand out there. But when those
True.
horns kick in, they're playing. And so you were able to hit actually almost a paradox, but not. You're part of something, but you stand out. And it's almost like, because usually when you think somebody's standing out, they're
Hmm.
by themselves. It's Diane and the Whispers, as they say, a band or singing band or something.
Right. Right.
But I find that an intriguing concept. So you get noticed, you like being a leader, you like being in charge, but you're always a part of what you're involved in.
Hmm.
And even as a teacher, you're in the front of the room, presumably, but you are involved in that group, that band that forms. Did you say band or orchestra? Is there ever a difference in your mind between those two concepts?
Yes, definitely. Orchestra involves strings,
Okay.
violins, violas, that kind of thing. Band does
I
not have stringed instruments. Guitar
fair enough.
occasionally, but not really.
I never knew that was the cutoff on that. Thank you for sharing that
Hmm.
information. So I'm looking at
Hmm.
my notes again, and I get the sense that part of you said you enjoy teaching. My mother is a teacher, so I'm going to take a stab at this. That I think more of the enjoyment that you were involved in is putting young adults, putting children into the program who may be shy, who may not be sure, who may not be a award-winning Juilliard School of Music persona, but
Hmm.
encouraging them and getting them to develop a sense of confidence through the music. Is that a reasonable
Correct.
concept?
You nailed it. That's exactly right. That's exactly
Okay.
right. It's about feeling that personal accomplishment and feeling good about what they've accomplished. I always used to say when I'd see a smile on a child's face, I knew I
Hmm.
did my job. They
Okay.
felt good about themselves. Oh yeah. Hmm.
Fair enough. I like that. I like that. So that now, as again, I'm reading my notes. I'm about halfway down, so I'm getting there, folks. You talk about again the cooperative effort to achieve goals. So the music
Hmm.
wasn't so much of them hearing simply to make noise that's in a pleasing manner.
Right.
That there is a purpose ultimately for that group. Once on two levels as I'm hearing it. The self-esteem of the child, perhaps pulling people together. They may have different interests, so friendships will develop as a result of that. And there can be a
Hmm.
collective sense of feeling good, even though each segment of the band will have their distinct purpose and value. Is that a summary that fits?
Absolutely. Yes. I mean, individually, they definitely feel good about what they can do, what they've accomplished, but it truly is all about working together to achieve a common goal. And the
Okay.
common goal was the presentation of that particular piece of music in the best way they could possibly do, for their age, for whatever the case was. But together, they made it happen. They made it work. Hmm.
I hear that, but I'm also hearing an additional nuance. It's not so much of completing a goal, but feeling good about it.
Oh,
That's what I'm
absolutely.
hearing also. That they
Oh,
can
yes.
smile and, and do the fist pump and say, "Boy, we did that well," and
Mhm.
being pleased conceptually.
Right.
So you,
Right. And that's the point, Joe. We did that well, not I did that well. I mean, I
right.
is great, but when you can work with we, and again, it was just that idea that when you go out into the real world, out to the working world, it will be a we. Now, we have become, many of us have become entrepreneurs, but
Hmm.
even us, we don't stand alone,
Right.
by ourselves. We network with others, we collaborate with others, and
Hmm.
so forth, because that, it just makes the world go round. I think it makes life well, it makes it more pleasant, that's for sure, but it makes what you do even easier because again, you're cooperating with others, and helping them in the long run as well.
I hear that. Now, you made a comment that some people were surprised who know you that you went from, quote, music of 35 years into the financial world out there, and they thought it was a huge difference. I I see it just the same thing. It's another band. It's not notes, it's dollars and cents.
Yeah,
and
that's
and
true.
it's I mean that's where I am on this. And it's still people coming together collectively, that the expectation is people will feel good of the outcome from being involved in that particular band of the moment. I'll call it the financial band, if I can say it like that, perhaps. And your role is to help people become engaged who may be insecure, who may be uncertain, have no knowledge, prior knowledge of how to play the instrument, perhaps, how to deal with
Mhm.
their expenses. And I'm using metaphors here now. But your role is to help that student, that customer, that client to become skilled at what they do to get a good outcome of flow, as working with the band to get it there. And each member, each cluster of that band has its expertise to help pull the whole program together. Am I far off on that and what I'm saying?
I like that relationship you're tying. I think, yeah, I've never really looked at it that way, but I do think of it from the educational standpoint. But as far as being a band, I never looked at it that way. But it is true. I mean, if they're feeling good about what's happening, I mean, we've said too that sometimes we make our clients cry. Well, it's not a
Mm-hmm.
bad cry; it's a tear of joy that, oh my gosh, there's light at the end of the tunnel. I
Mm-hmm.
can do this. I can achieve my goal, goals, with family, with, and so forth. So yeah, that's a great way to look at it. You're right. Oh, I love that. That's really
Well,
fantastic.
thank you for the testimony endorsement on that. One of my taglines again is I tell people I see things and I connect the dots decently well. So part of the secret sauce, the hot seat challenge, the challenge is not to my guest; it's really to me. Either I can walk my talk, or I need to be doing something differently. So, but there's no guarantee on it. We don't rehearse. We don't. I don't ask you for a transcript of your life or what you do. So it is all cold turkey by asking those questions. Now, I'm looking at my notes again in terms of concept, that I see that you made a phrase that's all about education. And clearly you enjoy your lifetime teacher. You never walked away from teaching. You simply crossed to the other side of the street on a different flavor of what you're
Mhm.
sharing the education in. When you talk about teaching and the children, you're smiling when you're saying it. You may not be aware of your body language, but I'm observing it. And I get the same sense that when you talk about the issue of finances, not a very sexy topic, folks, in
No.
my opinion. So certainly when it's stressing people out, it doesn't necessarily bring smiles to one face. Where a child may join a band because they were inclined to, maybe somebody pushed them in that direction. I would think your
Mhm.
challenge might be a little bit more strenuous, I guess. I suspect, and I don't again know, but people may feel lost. They may feel they have no options. They may feel they're stuck in the mud syndrome. And if that's the case, then you come along, or the people refer to you, again, metaphorically, I'm talking about, and you take that young student and I say young student in terms of expertise, knowledge of the financial
Mhm.
environment, and you
Mhm.
help bring them to the point they can be collectively involved in a team, the band, you might say, that will allow them to play their instruments well enough to be successful in what they're going to accomplish. How does that sound in what
Mhm.
I'm saying?
I think that's amazing. Well, I've never thought of it in that kind of relationship, but that makes complete sense.
Okay,
Absolutely.
so when
Huh.
people look at you and say you did what and you're doing what now, hey, just run it by them that you're still doing the exact same thing. So I'm going to ask
Mm-hmm.
you, are there any,
Mm-hmm.
now, any number of people I've met can talk about they help people with their finances. And I'm not saying they do or they don't. I really don't know. But what I can say, I'm convinced people won't make an effort for something, they won't spend the hard earned money for something because they're uncertain they're going to get good dollar value of where they're putting that money to work. And everybody, I've never met anybody that has claimed, I'm only second best. I'm proud of it. Avis does it, they seem to do it very well. But everybody else claims they're the best. Having said that, I get with Diane, it's not a statement, it's a legacy, it's a lifestyle. It's who you are. That you enjoy group settings because you can be involved, you love the fun of being involved with other people to accomplish something. That you enjoyed music, it was good teamwork, working for a good outcome, and it's a good sense of accomplishment. And I see the natural flow into what you're doing now as a debt solutions advisor, if I'm saying that correctly,
Mm-hmm.
that allows people to be involved in something they had no prior knowledge about, that will allow them to achieve goals they didn't know were achievable. How will they play, say, the instrument of life, the instrument of finances, and come out and say, hey, I'm glad I did that, which to me sets you apart from the usual and customary competition out there. And so I'm going to ask you now, are there any final words you'd like to take us home with on this?
I mean, you've really hit the nail on the head, my goodness, and food for thought for myself too, Joe. I mean, it truly, we really have helped people, find out, yes, they can afford a mortgage. Yes, they can buy another car. I mean, and it's not going to set them for years and years into debt. It takes the stress out of making those purchases, those large purchases and so forth. And I love
Can
that.
can I interrupt? I don't know if you take the stress out of it, but it adjusts the stress in a more positive manner. It
Okay.
changes
Yeah.
it changes from I can't do it, it will never happen to I can't, it will take some effort to get it done. I don't think you're waging a
Mhm.
magic wand like the fairy godmother or
Yeah.
something, but
Yeah. Yeah.
it's doable, achievable with less stress than living the alternate lifestyle.
True. It's more about you can make the decision. It's more of an informed decision as opposed to just like, well, did I take a chance? Should I, shouldn't I? It's
Right.
right there. It's in
I,
real time. Oh, yeah, that makes sense with my personal finances. And so that's something I absolutely love. I really do. I think the only thing that, not the only thing, but something really to leave with everyone too is I do want people to know that if they would have any questions for me, just to understand that I do not do consolidation loans. That's not what it is.
okay. All
I
right.
don't want them to assume, and it's not a negotiation with credit card companies, and it is not a refinance on their mortgage. Nothing like that. It is not one concept or one idea. It's all based on mathematical algorithms. It's math.
Okay.
It's all math, quite
I
frankly.
hear that.
So just to
And
clarify a little bit, that's all.
sure, and thank you for making that distinction. And for those that who are involved in those issues will know what the terminology is. For those who are not involved, it doesn't matter. So we won't go through explaining that. But more importantly, if you do have questions, again, there will be contact information in the event that you're watching now. And click the links, follow up on the emails with commentary. We do follow up. And if you want to know more about Diane, when somebody first contact you, is there a fee process, or how does that work for them?
Absolutely not. We have I just talk with them a little bit, consultation basically to see where they are, their goals, things like that, find out a little bit more about them and what they're looking for the future. What are they trying to accomplish?
Hmm.
And their pain point as far as their finances go. But then I meet with them one more time to find out just the specifics, the different information about their debts, but only the data,
Uh-huh.
and their income, things like that. But the point being is once I look at that and put all the information into the analysis, I show them the results.
Hmm.
Excuse me, completely complimentary because I want to
Okay.
know that it has value for them. Is it going to work for them? Is this the right
Okay.
answer for them? Does it make the most financial sense for them first? before we
I hear
do
that.
anything. Yeah.
So it's
Yeah. I,
not
I,
so,
I like that.
so it's not so much about try me and let's see what might happen. You give people an idea, a concept of what likely will happen based on the information that you have from them. I want to thank you
Yes.
for sharing this with us.
Yes.
It's been fun. The time has gone by so quickly. Again,
Yes.
folks, please leave your comments. Remember just to share this video with your friends, your associates. Remember to subscribe to my YouTube program. We do come up with regular programs. Thank you very much. And I'm going to, on behalf of Joe Wesley and J&L Creative Solutions, I'm going to say goodbye. And Diane, thank you for being a great guest. It was fantastic.
Thank you so much, Joe, for asking me to be here. It was a pleasure.
So thank you.